Pierce Brosnan's image is one that the world came to love: a suave tuxedo, an impeccable jawline, and a voice that carried both charm and danger. He embodied the fantasy of James Bond, a man who seemed to walk into any room with confidence, as though the world itself had been waiting for him. For many, Brosnan was the epitome of sophistication, effortlessly attracting admiration. Yet behind the iconic spy character was a real-life story that was far from glamorous, full of hardship and pain. It is a story about a boy who faced abandonment before he even understood its meaning, a man who watched loved ones succumb to illness, and an actor who lost the role of a lifetime only to fight for years to reclaim it. Brosnan's journey into the role of James Bond wasn't just because of what he had endured, it was because of it. His personal struggles gave him the depth that Bond required, a quiet strength formed in the face of immense loss. A childhood marked by abandonment. Pierce Brosnan was born on May 16, 1953, in the small Irish town of Drogheda, County Louth. Life in Drogheda was simple, but it was also filled with the weight of unspoken expectations and an atmosphere of quiet struggle. His father, Thomas Brosnan, left when Pierce was still an infant, and with no explanation or goodbye, he vanished from his life. His mother, May Smith, left soon after, chasing a future for herself in London, leaving young Pierce behind with his maternal grandparents in Navan, County Meath. By the time he was barely 1, he had already experienced the pain of abandonment. His grandparents, though kind and warm, couldn't replace the motherly love that Pierce had craved. As he grew, the loneliness deepened, marked by a question that lingered in his heart. Why didn't she stay? This emotional void would be something that shaped his life forever, though it went unspoken for many years. A boy without a home. Brosnan's childhood wasn't one of abuse or neglect, but of constant relocation. When his grandparents passed away, Pierce was sent to live with an aunt, and later with a family friend. Though none of these experiences were harmful, they fostered a growing sense of being an outsider. A boy who never truly had a home. This feeling of impermanence became a quiet but pervasive force in his life. He wasn't truly a part of any one family, not in the way that gives a child the confidence to trust the world around them. School was no different. At St. Kieran's CBS in Navan, Pierce was the boy without a father and without a sense of belonging. He observed rather than participated, learning early on that staying invisible was often safer than standing out. He found solace in drawing and painting, but it wasn't yet a passion. It was survival. Art gave him a space to escape, a refuge where he could channel his pain. A new beginning in London. When Pierce was 10 years old, his mother reappeared. She had built a career as a nurse in London, remarried, and wanted to bring him to live with her. For Pierce, this was a fresh start in a city that spoke the same language but felt completely foreign. Moving to London meant reuniting with a mother who, despite being biologically his, still felt like a stranger. He was now in his teenage years, navigating a new environment where the city's indifference matched his own sense of disconnection. He described himself as always being the outsider, always looking in, an experience that he carried with him into adulthood. Pierce's sense of being out of place was palpable, but it was this feeling that would later fuel his success. He would go on to become the man everyone looked at, even if that same boy spent years looking at the world without being seen. It's a new path through acting. At 18, Pierce's pursuit of visibility led him to the Drama Centre London, one of the most respected acting schools in the country. The odds were against him. He had no formal training, no connections, and no clear reason why the school would take a chance on him. But Pierce possessed a raw, unquantifiable talent that the faculty quickly recognised. The Drama Centre's method was tough and unapologetic, encouraging students to dive into their own personal history and emotions to fuel their performances. For Pierce, this was cathartic. His childhood of abandonment, his struggles with isolation, and his unspoken pain became the foundation of his craft. He didn't have to search for material, it was already there, embedded in the core of his being. Acting became not just a career, but a way to make sense of the past. In 1975, after graduating, Pierce moved into theatre, working with the York Theatre Royal, honing his craft with small but demanding roles. It was a steady and challenging rise, one that would eventually lead to something greater. The role of a lifetime. In 1982, Pierce was cast as Remington Steele in the hit television series, a role that changed his life. Remington Steele was a charming, witty character who was originally written as a fictional persona created by a female detective agency to give credibility to their operation. When Pierce played the role, his effortless charisma brought the character to life in a way that immediately captivated audiences. He moved through scenes with a natural confidence that felt completely unforced, and the camera seemed to find him in a way it finds only a select few. With his charm and good looks, Pierce became an overnight sensation. America took notice, and with that attention came whispers about his potential to play the role of James Bond, a part that would soon become synonymous with his name. But before he could take on the iconic role, he would first face an unexpected and heartbreaking setback. Love and loss, a devastating blow. In 1977, Pierce met Cassandra Harris, a beautiful and intelligent Australian actress. At the time, she was married to someone else, but the connection between her and Pierce was undeniable. They became close friends and, after her marriage ended, began a romantic relationship. They married in 1980, and Pierce adopted Cassandra's 2 children from her previous marriage. This act of love and acceptance meant everything to Pierce, who had spent his childhood without a stable family. For the first time, he truly felt like he had found a home, a place where he was chosen, where he mattered. But in 1987, tragedy struck. Cassandra was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. She was 34, and their young son, Sean, had just been born. The family they had built together was suddenly overshadowed by a disease that neither of them had any power to stop. Pierce's world came to a halt. He stepped away from his career, putting everything on hold to care for Cassandra. He drove her to treatments, sat by her side through the painful and uncertain moments, and did everything in his power to keep his family together. A changed man. The price of fame. Pierce Brosnan's journey was never just about becoming an actor. It was about finding belonging, about learning to trust and love after years of abandonment and uncertainty. Cassandra's death in 1991 was a profound loss, and it reshaped Pierce in ways he could never have anticipated. The man who had once been the charming and confident Remington Steele, and later James Bond, had been shaped by years of pain and struggle. Fame didn't just come to him because of his talent, it came because he had lived a life that made him strong enough to take it on. Through tragedy, loss, and heartbreak, Pierce Brosnan learned what truly mattered: the love of his family, the importance of loyalty, and the strength to endure even the most difficult of circumstances. His journey was one of survival, of finding purpose in the places he never expected, and of realizing that the price of fame is often far greater than it appears on the surface.